Thank you for joining us on another episode of Breaking Reality. Stephanie, you got me laughing.
What?
Oh. With me tonight is Stephanie Powell. She's my guest host tonight. And then later this evening, Stephanie and me will be doing another show together where she will be the guest.
Hello.
But the guest we have with us now is Shannon Harris. Shannon, it's a pleasure having you with us again.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and, then we'll get into today's conversation.
My name is Shannon Harris. Pretty much I consider myself to be a sound scientist. I have 3 decades of sound experiences spanning over different forms of expression, artistic endeavors, modalities, professions, practices, creations, and innovations. So saying that, I've stepped into many of myself as an IT engineer, a computer programmer, a DJ, a producer, a composer, a remixer, performer, an instrument maker, a teacher, a healer, a therapist, proactivist. The list continues. Humanitarian, diviner, documentarian, anthropologist, ethnomusicologist, and videographer.
Woo! Take a breath.
I missed that. Can you repeat that?
Yes, I could do it in reverse if you want me to. I could do it in reverse. Videographer, ethnomus. No, just joking. But what I'm known for in the latter part of my career and my endeavors is for what I trademarked called audio pharmacology. And I consider audio pharmacology to be a boutique brand of sound and light therapy. I also, within that brand, I create custom Qigong to custom sound for the organs and energy entrainment programs. Also, public healing arts events, mindfulness workshops, mindfulness play shops for the children, meditation with custom music as well, and sound baths and sound showers. So how I explain it in the spectrum of it is I utilize the electromagnetic spectrum frequencies as a pharmacy. So I'm always engaging what is the frequency of any type of reality. So whether it's anatomy, physiology, chakra, environment, because everything has a vibration. So I look at the electromagnetic spectrum and tap into those frequencies and use them as medicine.
Excellent. I mean, that's
interesting.
That's the whole point of a lot of the discussions. I mean, we've talked about it a lot on the show of we are energy, and energy responds to certain frequencies. And so it makes sense that if you use the right frequencies, you can heal, and if you use the wrong frequencies, you can cause harm.
Correct. And what was interesting in this, and let me jump into this, I guess, because we're free flowing. So
yeah.
This future endeavor that came to me that I'm putting together with a colleague of mine, Mark Bell, who's a sound engineer guru. We're building out these installations where I'm actually designing this parabolic type of system. And when I was talking about it to another friend, they were like, hey, wait, they use those for, weapons. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Let me go. And I went back and researched it. And, the same frequencies we can use to heal, they have some frequencies that they use as weapons. They have things called sonic weapons,
right,
that actually the police department uses in riots and things like that. And that's a great example. They also use sound in interrogating people, and etc. So definitely, everything has a duality. You just have to make sure you're in harmony. So that's how I look at it. Yeah. So, one of the things I would like to talk about is what I do with audio pharmacology, if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I have something that I call sound and light therapy sessions, and it entails deep tissue and muscle sound massages. So I'm using vibroacoustics in a tactile way to induce harmony to different parts of the body. So it works, on the muscles and tissues, but you know how sound works when it's reverberating the body. It gets down to a cellular level.
Right.
And on top of that, then I'm intertwining light therapies, a photonic light therapy, and I use that on different meridians, and a bio energetic dual laser light therapy. And what's interesting about the laser therapy is it does something that's called, and I know I'm getting technical, but this is the show for that.
Absolutely.
So photobiomodulation, which is a pretty cool process. It's called PDM, if people want to look that up.
Okay.
I can give a brief definition.
Oh, please do, because I have no clue.
So as you're talking about this, I'm thinking, and I just want to know if I'm thinking of what this looks like. So when you're in physical therapy and they have to do the ultrasound on your elbow or whatever body parts hurt, is that how this is administered? I mean, as far as the sound and the laser therapy, is it a similar form of administrating it to someone that way, or are you talking about sitting in a room with headphones and a laser light? Can you explain how that process is working?
It's all of the above.
Shannon's like, I go for full immersion. I don't mess around.
It's all of the above. So with the ultrasound, I don't use ultrasound. I use audible frequencies, but inaudible frequencies. Because when I say audio pharmacology, a lot of times they're assuming it has to do with music.
Right.
Things they can hear, audible sound. But there's a whole universe of frequencies that are inaudible to us because we only hear 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz.
Right.
Everything below that in the infrasonic and everything above that in the ultrasonic, that's where majority of the frequencies reside. So, yes, how they apply ultrasonic therapy on areas, right? If it's the elbow, they put it there. I'm doing that. I'm also have you land on a VAT, vibroacoustic therapy table. So that's reverberating your whole body.
So it's like getting a massage while you're laying there.
Exactly. And then I also have different programs that can resonate different hemispheres of the body. So if I want a different frequency by the chest cavity area or down towards the lower back where the solar plexus, or we call the lower dantian, or down at the legs, in the thigh area and down at the calves, I can do that all simultaneously or create the wave effect. Zoom, 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 zoom. Zoom.
At this point in time, Stephanie, get the keys. We're going to go see Shannon.
I was just thinking, are you available for an appointment?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So since you're available for appointments, how would someone get a hold of you?
So I just added the book now button to my Instagram page, audio pharmacology, AUDIOPHARMACOLOGY. And I also have a webpage. It's www.audiopharmacology.com. And you just go, you either hit the services or you'll see different buttons throughout the page that says schedule now. And you hit that and you'll see all the different types of services. And I can go through different things like that's just the sound part of the session. So now on the table, you're having a form of heated stone therapy that's going through. So what I'm doing is I'm relaxing your body and you're just sinking in.
Yeah,
I'm already feeling it, okay?
I'm thinking about, I'm visualizing here.
And then I'm resonating to healthy frequencies. But how I get you as a person to come into a harmonious state to allow the frequencies to be accepted, because what sound does to the body is called forced vibrations. So with forced vibrations, anything you hear or don't hear, it's resonating. It inside of you, even though you don't feel it. It's if a person is playing. I know you've probably been in a car and somebody drives with a kicker box and it's like boom, and a lot of people think that that's not affecting them, but it actually is. That person is forcing vibration on your body.
Right.
So what I try to do is when you see while you're laying on the table, I have headphones on the person to some customized traditional Chinese medicine music. And that music is to not only relax you, but to introduce the different organ frequencies that are needed for your session. So I'm actually diagnosing or prescribing, like, okay, we're going to use this, and then we're going to use these frequencies. If you're a particular astrology sign, if there's particular ailments you have going on due to the particular time of season, all of these things I'm taking into account and customizing every session like that. So I would choose that music, and as you're sitting listening to that music, it's causing you to actually go to sleep, to get in a really relaxed state. So now, instead of I'm taking the parasympathetic and the sympathetic, I'm playing with that, or not playing with it. I'm taking you from one
with it.
state to the other one. Yeah. And then also your repair, your rebuild, and your restore, which kicks in when you start to like doze off and go to sleep, right? So that's very important, is the relaxation. So the frequencies don't feel forced on the body, and not forced by the person saying, oh, this feels good. I want the body to not resist the frequencies. So I do a lot of warm up for that to happen. And that happens with the headphones and different types of, if I decide to use tuning forks, I use singing bowls to break up stagnation. So I have different ones for that. But singing bowls, they're just pretty much tuned to key. And every key has a frequency, but the difference with audio pharmacology, I'm looking at things on the electromagnetic spectrum. So something that's 0.1 or 0.00001 counts to me. So if for instance, the stomach, frequency is 110, and let's see what key that is. Let me look that up for you.
And with the tuning forks, you're able to get that specific frequency that you need, right?
Well, tuning forks are pre-tuned. So say, for instance, if somebody comes in for something that I don't have a tuning fork for, what I like about the system that I use, the vibroacoustics, is I can dial in anything. Everything is even ultrasonic sounds. If I have the ultrasonic speakers, and the sky is the limit. Versus I have all these chimes. When I first started audio pharmacology, you've probably seen some of the older pictures, these chimes around gongs and all of this stuff. That's
actually the picture that you sent me to use for the bio page.
Yeah. And there's more. That's not even my whole set. Like, I have so much stuff, but everything serves a specific purpose. So if someone comes in for something else that I don't have, then I'm able to handle that. Where there's a lot of times sound healers are using gongs that are pre-tuned to Saturn or the sun, and the person really needs something for the moon, for example, or somebody has something going on with their kidney and the frequency is just the key of C,
Right.
So let me see what 110 is so I can give you an example. So at 430, if we tune 110 to 432 hertz, I don't know, you probably can hear that, right?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah, so that key would be A. So a lot of people, when they look at music and even your professional musicians, they're just looking at key.
Right.
So they're like, well, play A. What I'm looking at is frequency. So this frequency 110 is A, but 111 is A, 110.5 is A, 115.2 is A. So when you're saying A, there's like thousands of A's. And then this is A2. So in a keyboard, you have like C4, the octaves. So this is the second octave, then third, fourth, and you can play them all to create a harmony. So when you say A, there's like pretty much, the sky's the limit, millions of frequencies, because 110.1.1 is different than 110.0. Right. So what I do is get specific. So what I like to call sound surgery. So when people coming in, some of the instruments like singing bowls, you can't do that. Tuning forks and gongs, you can't change the pitch of it. It's already done.
Right.
So to make the sessions customizable, that's where the vibroacoustics come in at. And then I use the other instruments that are pre-tuned for that one specific purpose. If it's needed, if it's not needed, then it sits in the back. It's not a toy to be thrown and just sound good. More of what I do is actually functional, and that's what I believe in, doing more functional sessions versus emotional. Not just to make you feel like I actually want to shift changes and things inside of the body. And my thing is about homeostasis. I'm happy when I can produce an homeostasis effect. I don't know if you saw the video I did with the holographic blood analysis.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you all need to see those videos. So
if you send me those videos over, I'll put those up on the Discord channel, on the Discord server.
Awesome.
So anyone that wants to join the Discord, if you haven't, down below in the panels, there's a button to join the Discord. And then when this is up on YouTube, in the description down below, there will be a link to be able to join the Discord server.
Awesome. Yeah, so I had the rare opportunity to work with two sons of this scientist, Dr. Harvey Biggleson, and he created this technology or modality, or it's really a technology mixed with a modality called holographic blood analysis. So just imagine being able to see holograms of your different organs or different foreign things in your body as information before and after sessions. So we can see the shift in your blood after a session and see what the session needs to be. Like it's the diagnosis is saying your blood is saying these are the things that are existing in your body that's out of alignment. And then after the session, retaking your blood and it's showing, what it has done. If it has removed it, if you need more of those different types of frequencies. For me, frequencies, they use this science to judge everything. So when I say everything, these guys last time we worked together, maybe like 2 years ago, they had, I believe, over 50,000 slides of different results.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot.
And Yeah. So they'll go do their blood before going to a rock concert and then do it afterwards. They're testing everything. So how I met them is they came to a lecture I did in Seattle and they were blown away. And a lot of the stuff that they actually teach in their lectures, and then there was a lot of stuff they weren't aware of. But the one of the brothers was inspired to come to the lecture because he was trying to build a vibroacoustic massage table. So he saw that I was in town and he was like, hey, let's go check this guy out. And they're really cool people. So they came, they kept asking me questions on stage. And you can see they were getting excited. Yeah, you know, they were getting excited. I was getting excited. And then afterwards, they came up to me and another friend, Allison, of theirs, who I met there, I began to work with her too. She's a notable naturopath in Seattle. They were so excited. We talked, and then the one of the brothers was like, you know what? We're going to take your Qigong class tomorrow. So I said, okay. And they came to the Qigong class. They bought one of my Qigong DVDs that has my theta wave music, and then they went home. So what they did, though, they didn't tell me, is they took their blood before my Qigong class, and they wanted to see if the Qigong was legit. And this is what they do with everything. They'll go to a lecture. They'll go to a barber shop, you know, just to see if the frequencies and vibrations are shifting their blood.
Right. So
they called me the next day and was like, hey, we got some great results from after your class, and then I did some of your Qigong from the DVD for particular organs and saw, you know, massive shifts. We want to get a session with you, just one of us get a session with you. So that next day, one of the brothers came in for the session, but this time he told me he told me after that that he took the blood to see if it was legit. Then he's like, before this session, I want to take the blood right before the session on location, because I don't want to be inspired by, you know, driving there or anything.
Right.
So he took his blood and he did this thing called a bio well. I don't know if you all are familiar with that.
No.
But it's so are you familiar with traditional Chinese medicine or acupuncture?
I am. I've had acupuncture, but
okay.
As far as anything else, as far as
I don't know all the terminology.
Where they put it, how I don't know anything like that.
Okay, so in acupuncture, they have a system that's called a 5-element theory, which deals with meridians and organs.
Right.
So where they sticking you has to deal with different points along different meridians for different organs.
Correct.
So what the bio well does is on the fingers, we have what's called gene wells on the toes and the fingers. So these are the points where energy, it's a well of energy. So it deposits there and then it transfers throughout and it goes down to the other gene wells to the toes. So what you do is you put your hand on this glass. It's like taking fingerprints at the airport or something. So you put your hand on this glass, it reads the energy in the gene well points, and it tells you about your biofield, the energy around your body. And it can actually show where there's breakages in the field. So they took that, and what's interesting is it tells you where breakages in the field. It tells you if you're off balance or not aligned. So it tells you where majority of your energy is, because it's supposed to be in the center. Sometimes the energy is here. I remember doing a DMI a long time ago with my naturopath, and the energy supposed to be in the body, and it was like, let me move over, it was like sitting over here.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I was just like, wait, is that possible? He's like, yeah. So I had to do Qigong to bring that energy that was way outside of my body back, as we kept retesting and doing acupuncture and taking herbs until it got, you know, in a sweet space or sweet spot there inside of my body. So that test is for that type of analysis. And then they did the holographic blood analysis. And before, he had some issues with the colon and the spine, so it was pushing down on the colon. And then afterwards, there was a whole bunch of things that got released. I will send the video. I created 2 small versions of it, and then I have a full length video of a lecture. An interview I did with a high school student talking about this stuff. I barely get a chance to talk about it, so it was good that I expressed it in detail what happened with that session, because the information is on my website, but it's too technical and can kind of be out there. So me talking about it, I think, is cooler than you reading, okay, blood, colon, lung.
Like, okay, let's get the dictionary. What's this word?
Right, yeah.
Hold on.
So
Google, I need you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that session, they had exponential releases and results, so much so that they had to contact their dad to translate what they were seeing, because they said you usually don't get something that's that transformative. So when they reported back the pulse notes, I was like, wow, yes. And we began to work together with clients doing the pre and post analysis with that test. Now the brothers I think one was living in Spain and things like that. So I'm trying to get a hold of them so we can start those sessions back up, because there was some people that was asking about the audio pharmacology with the holographic blood analysis.
That would be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I do. Number 2, well, before I even go into that, let me read to people what are some of the benefits from like sound therapy sessions. So how I use it majority of the time with a lot of clients is inflammation. Many people just have inflammation and pain. That's the number one issue that people walk into the centers that I work in or into my facility is, ouch, this hurts, this is tight.
Right.
Trust me, I'm feeling it right now.
And then you have stress. Definitely, is a stress has become. It's interesting. It's become like a part of society, as if it's natural, to be in it all the time. So I work heavily with stress. I work to balance emotions, to balance chakras, if you believe in the chakra system, tension, improve circulation, boost energy, and again, to relieve pain. Now, some of the top 10 benefits, and I'll read this from like a website, top 10 benefits of sound therapy. It's used to relieve stress. You get fewer headaches when you use it. It definitely does help with that.
No, does that help with like migraines as well?
Yes.
Okay, because I know some people that deal with some serious migraines.
Yeah, using sound therapy. What happens with sound and music is it ignites every hemisphere of the brain at the same time. So when you're not only experiencing music, but when you're using sound therapy and like positive vibrations, this reverberating, 2 things happen. It makes the perception of the pain lessen because your energy is being taken and your focus off of it. And then what also happens as well is the inflammation. When you're using certain frequencies, sound vibrates. So say for instance, if you got a knot and you're reverberating it with sound, it begins to kind of loosen that and reverberate it, and then now it's less tension. So that's why it's highly effective for pain. Very effective. I've had people come in limping, jumping out the chair, and I was just like, wait, hold up, slow up, don't.
Yeah.
And I always have to tell people, because when you first get up from a session, you don't really feel it hit you. So you get up and you like, I say, so how you feeling? I'm feeling good. And it's like, still a little. And then what happens if a person is unable to raise their arm up before the session, they begin to raise it higher and they go, oh, wow. Because what they're doing is they remember the painful movement. Right. The memory of the body is like, nah, when I move the arm like this, it hurts. So let me try to just ease into it until they get past that point and they keep moving it up and they're like, wow. Or if they're able to get up and walk. Now, what I do encourage, though, is after a session, what happens is people are so on the go. They're just like, oh, yeah, I'm fixed. Let me go and just play softball and run a marathon. It's like, no. You have to let the body heal itself. It takes time for the body to heal itself. So what we did, we just loosened up a whole bunch of stuff. You need to drink a whole bunch of water. And if possible, get some rest. Let the body rest so it can heal, because we just loosened things up and cleared stagnation. Even like after massage, you're supposed to drink a lot of water because of this deep tissue massage. All the calcification and all of those elements are floating around in your blood. So you need to move that stuff out. So that's a common practice. People will get up and just go running full force and back into what they were doing. On this website, it talked about it boosting confidence when you're doing sound therapy. And that's an interesting thing. And I can see some of that when you're dealing with like music therapy, especially. Many people can't read to certain things, but or do a speech, but if you put a rhythm to it, they'll just have more confidence. Where without the sound track, they're unable to function the same. And then it says gives you more focus. Definitely. Everyone has cleaned their house to music, has jogged to music, exercise, work to music. Music, because it does those things that I mentioned earlier with every part of the hemisphere at the same time, and will capture your focus. But the difference between music and sound therapy uses more sustained and single notes, so pure tones. So when you hear something, let me give an example, because when we're talking about music, and I have that frequency on for a while, feels good actually. Did you hear it go off? Yeah. Yeah. So let's see, right here. So, for example, when music composition has notes, chords, rhythms, and it can be moving real fast, so it will get you focused. But the therapeutic part of what we call remember the forced vibration, right? If you're vibrating something like playing a piano. Let me go to the piano so you can see what I'm talking about. And then I'll go to this thing. You can hear that, right?
We can now, yes.
Yeah, I just heard it.
All right. So the vibration has come and gone. If I do boom, and that's it.
Right.
So when you're playing, like you hear a song that you like and they're just like solos and all of this stuff, it's not giving the body a chance to resonate, to force resonate to that. Like a tuning fork, it has to hold that resonance. A
Right.
singing bowl, ooh, a gong. In music, you don't have it holding a particular resonance, a particular frequency. You have a gumbo of frequencies, and it's just stirring it up, and you just
Now you're making me hungry.
Me too. So with sound therapy, it's a little bit different. You know, you have longer sustained notes. Let me find a pleasing sound. And you're allowing the body to entrain to those notes. So let me do even. Let me make it. Wait, hold on.
Sounds a lot like what I sleep to at night.
So let's do. Let me choose a better sound than that. Let's do this. There we go. Let me turn down the water so you can.
Shannon, you need to have your mic on so we can hear.
There we go.
Oh, did it cut out?
Yeah, your mic's not picking it up, so it will activate the how it picks up on speech.
Oh, okay.
Like, we can still hear you, we just can't hear the music unless, like, you're talking. It's not enough to activate the mic.
All right, I got you. It's not strong enough. Okay, so let me turn this down. Keep it on. So did you hear the water go off?
Yeah, we
Yes.
heard the water go off.
Okay, all right. So now let's do this. How was that?
We're only hearing it when you
We'll
talk.
only hear when you talk.
Okay, so is this thing coming through? Let me see. I wonder, is it coming through the speakers? Can you hear that?
Only when you're talking.
Only when you're talking.
Huh. So I have to keep talking. Da 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 da.
Yeah, I think if you had your microphone set to push to talk and you had the mic open, we would be able to hear it. But since it's voice activated on your microphone,
Oh, so let me change the settings then.
yeah, you can change that in Discord real easy.
Okay, let me do that right quick. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. So when my son was younger, let me say that again.
Words are
Tongue
hard.
twister, huh? So when my son was younger, he had severe migraines, and we went to Children's Hospital for years, and he had some sort of biofeedback that actually used a lot of sound. And I remember him learning to sit in a chair and to listen to these sounds and to manipulate certain muscles at certain times. So what you're discussing reminds me about, some things that I went through with my family years back when my son was younger, as far as sound therapy and using some of those things to heal your body.
Hey, come on. Tanner's wanting to come over. Oh, we can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
Now you can hear me, right?
Yeah, you got to
can hear
push
you
to
now.
talk
Yes.
Now,
now. Do you have it?
automatic turn. Okay, let me turn that off. Let's see. Test.
I can hear it now.
There we go. Is that
Yes.
good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So can you hear that?
Yes.
Okay, so when they're talking about brain entrainment music, yeah, I'm getting feedback. It's like repeating. I don't know if Discord's off from
I think it's because
Twitch,
you're
but when they're talking
typing.
about, I said
Oh,
again.
do you have the audio up on Twitch?
Yeah, let me turn that down.
Yeah, if
Let's
you
see.
mute that, you'll get rid of that.
All right, there we go. Boom. Testing 1 2.
Sounds good on my end.
Awesome. Okay, now we're in business now. We're cooking with gas. All right. So when we're talking about brain entrainment and sound therapy, we're focusing on single tones, pure frequencies, because the body, if you force vibrate it over a longer period of time, that's when you start moving things. That's when it starts, reverberating to the frequency. But if you're just playing a keyboard, bing, boom, 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 and you just,
Right.
it doesn't choose anything to heal to. It's just gonna be like, you're gonna emotionally say, this sounds great.
Right.
But as far as, not having a forced vibration, I don't like to use word forced vibration, but that's what it is. It's just vibrating your body.
It's a constant vibration that's always
Exactly.
affecting your body.
Right. When you don't have that, then the entrainment that can happen doesn't take place as deep, as I would like it. So even that frequency is oscillating, but
Right.
it's one frequency, one note. And over time, you would get really focused and trained. It just brings you what is that? You just tune into it.
I need that for about 10 hours.
You would do that.
Yes, I would. I would play that during some of my plant medicine ceremonies.
Oh yeah, this will have you all just really like relaxed.
I've spoken to you about it before, but when you work with certain plant medicines, like specifically I work with ayahuasca, you feel frequencies and vibrations so much more intensely. Like, and so a lot of times during my ceremonies, I use solfeggio frequencies.
Okay.
Because of the way they react to the body and how sensitive you are at that point in time. I mean, it is insane. The slightest changes in the frequencies, you can feel it. It's a really, really interesting sensation.
And I'm not surprised by that, because when you're dealing with plant medicines, the chemical effect that it's having on your brain, right?
Right.
The brain, again, sound and music is lighting up the whole brain. So your brain is already becoming open, right? Well, especially with ayahuasca. So now you're actually, I have synesthesia. So when I hear sound, I see colors, I see shapes. So
when you're on ayahuasca, you most definitely see colors and sound. You see the sound, you see the shapes and stuff that they're forming, and as like even with the oscillation, you see things moving and shifting with the oscillation and stuff as well. I mean, you are very in tune with it at that point in time. It is, to me, a really, really unique experience, and really shows how in touch you are with frequency and vibrations when you get the option to use plant medicines and have something like that, and how those different tones and stuff resonate with your body. And you feel it in different aspects of your body too, as things resonate differently.
Exactly. Yeah, because your consciousness is becoming open from the effects. So this is actually already always happening. We just
Right.
we can't access it as much. And there's talks of the pineal gland being too calcified, the foods we're eating, the toxicity of the air, the water, fluoride, and we can go into a whole bunch of stuff of the entrainment of television and education and all of this stuff.
5G, everything.
Yeah. So what's fascinating is that experience you're talking about. That's like my daily life just off GP. So when I was, it was interesting up until maybe like 2003-ish. I had a hard time sleeping at night. I would get these dreams with these formulas and all of this just stuff. I didn't know what it was. I was just like, okay, this kind of look like physics formulas, but I don't know what that is. These colors and just all of this stuff would just come, and I'm just trying to process like, what is this? What is this? What is this? What's this? And then eventually, fall asleep for a couple of hours, and then the next day, same thing. And over time, I began to realize, oh, this is the formula to this. Oh, this is telling me to go look into this, and this is leading me to this. So when all of those things started adding up, I began to realize like, okay, there's not only, we talk about ancestral memories, past life, memories, the frequencies in the environment and different things are actually becoming part of the memory subliminally. And a lot of times we don't get a chance to process it. So I was beginning to get a chance to process it deeply because I started meditating and started doing Qigong. So it slowed me down where I can look at these things with a bird's eye view. And that's what it sounds like, from the effects you're explaining with the plant medicine as well.
Almost definitely. And especially, I've even had some similar experiences to what you're talking about of seeing different equations and geometrical formations and shapes and stuff, and trying to figure out what in the world do these mean.
Yeah.
Because there's a meaning behind them when you're seeing these at different points in times. There's things that you see and there's something there. You just have to figure it out.
Yeah, and it wasn't until that phase of my life, the shift in energy, the shift in even I started composing music to those frequencies and started writing, and my whole life was just transformed by those things because I was beginning to it was kind of like the hack of what the reality was being hacked. It's like, oh no, this is not real here. This is what's real. This formula, like no one's talking about this, or who's talking about this. And then I'm like, oh, there's people talking about this, but it's not mainstream. Yeah, and that's why I like this breaking reality show, because you're bringing people to talk about these things that many people aren't talking about.
And that's the whole point of this. It's to challenge people's perceptions of the world around them. That's what the show is here for. And it's to make them realize there's things going on that you don't know about, that you don't see, that, we kind of need to be aware of.
Exactly. And what's interesting is, there was lots of talks around the 2012. Now we just entered via the winter solstice, the age of Aquarius. Yes. I'm a tropical Aquarius, tropical triple Aquarius. So this is my age. I'm really excited about this. But yeah, there was a thing I posted a week ago. It was a newscaster inviting a lady on to talk about the pineal gland. And they went in about, ancient Egypt and blah, blah, blah. I was just like, get out of here. They went into the chakra system, and I was just like, wow, this is like
on mainstream news.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
unusual.
It was
Yeah,
mainstream.
that is most definitely unique.
There was another program. I posted a video with this this science that's out of Israel. It's an MRI with like focused ultrasound therapy, and that was on mainstream news. And I was just like, huh, this is fascinating. Ultrasound has been used by the medical industry for a while.
Right.
It's yeah, let me not just say that. It's been used by the medical industry for a while. I'll just say you have to be careful with it. Yeah, because it actually is moving things in your body.
Oh, I mean, like they use it to break up kidney stones and stuff. So that's got to tell you
Exactly.
it's got to have some kind of effect. If
And
Right.
and it's supposed to like stimulate blood flow and get rid of like the little teeny knots that you have within your muscular system, you know. And it's supposed to knead those out. Isn't that what it is?
It breaks up the calcium deposits and stuff
Yeah.
in the muscles and stuff and that fine tissue and stuff too.
So that shows you how powerful like sound is, and that's at a higher inaudible frequency. But if you take that same technology and you're moving it like there was an article about ultrasound being used often in childbirth, and you're moving it around just to see an image, but you're moving something. And they were like, you know, they don't suggest it because, yeah, we're moving it to burst kidney stones and all this stuff. But do you want to use it to as imaging?
Right.
So they suggested like other ways to do that if you're going to do it often. If you want to see those type of things often, ultrasound may not be the way to go because it's moving stuff inside of you. It's not just going through the skin for imaging. It's actually moving something around when the person's put in the jail and doing.
Right. And I imagine that amniotic fluid is probably vibrating pretty intensely from that too. Because that liquid would amplify it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the great thing about sound is once you tap into the right frequency, and that's why that MRI machine with the focused sound is great. And I began studying this, I forgot how long ago, maybe like 10 years ago. And I found the article, and it was on Facebook. Actually, it was a special group. It was on all this like Israeli technology, and couldn't find it because I would talk about this technology in my classes, and then recently I came across that company again, and that was the news article. Not news article. They was on a news program and talking about the technology, and I was like, oh wow, they advanced and now they're using it for fibroids and different types of brain ailments, and that's what I was researching on how to work with those at that time. So ultrasound, you know, it can get just like you can have, like I talked about earlier with the parabolic type of technology. You know, you have to be very careful when you're using sound in general, audible and especially inaudible, because when we're talking about like gamma ray technology, X-ray, you know, we get X-rays, you know, at the dentist, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is actually frequencies. Every frequency has a sound vibration to it because it's vibration. So being very, you know, careful of how many frequencies we're introducing to the body. And again, that's forced resonance. You know, what is it doing? What are the side effects from it? Or is it worth the outcome? So being very, you know, steadfast about that. Yeah, just wanted to just talk about that in general. When we talk about frequencies on the electromagnetic spectrum.
I mean, keep going on because everything you're giving us is good information. This is the kind of stuff I wanted to discuss today.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
these like especially how frequencies and vibrations affect in healing, and even in because a lot of people are tuning into the show are looking for those alternative means of, I don't want to have to take a bunch of narcotics to be out of pain. They don't want to have to get into that whole opioid issue, or they don't want to be taking, just any kind of extra chemicals at all if need be. Like, even aspirin and acetaminophen, which is horrible in my opinion,
Mhm.
but especially to what it does to the livers and stuff for long-term usage, doing things like sound healing with the frequencies and vibrations that can reduce that pain and that inflammation, that seems like a much more logical path to go.
Yeah,
Like,
it's very the reason why
it's
I
like
enjoy it because it's
serious.
non-invasive.
It's like, seriously, why are you not in every single doctor's and surgeon's office and working in pain management clinics all over the United States?
Let's put that vibration out there. I'm trying to do that.
Because I mean, this is what they need. This is exactly what they need, and this is the kind of things that can be a alternative path to opiates, which we've seen what the opioid pandemic has done to this country. I mean, it is horrible, and they want to think they got it in control, but I mean, it's still going on.
Hmm. Yeah, what's happening is, and I've seen it slowly. A lot of people, are saying, well, big pharma is the issue. They just doing things for profits. And what's going to happen, and, I'm glad we're recording this. Remember, I said this. All of this stuff I'm telling you about, and even what I do, is going to be in the medical industry, just like ultrasonic medicine
Right.
is there. This is going to be the same. And that,
I mean,
and in fact, go ahead, go ahead.
I know several years back I saw that they had like casts for the arm that
Yeah.
had vibrations and stuff that it would emit while the person was wearing it to help the
Hmm.
bone mend quicker and sturdier. That it was
Hmm.
even a stronger heel at the break point. The regrowth and everything was stronger and it was sturdier than without.
Yes. I found that there was a person who made that in a three with a 3D printer.
Yes. Yeah. It
Yeah,
was in the early days of 3D printers just starting to get popular.
yeah. And I saw that, I said, wow. Because what's interesting, and the reason why I know it's coming, there's science is coming out all the time. Scientifically, this does this. Scientifically, now scientists are saying this. Scientifically, now they're saying this. So I'm working with David Gibson with the Medical Sound Association out of California. And his attempt is to document in a clinical study type of format what a lot of people are doing with sound to bring it to the medical industry. The only caveat to anything we introduce to a big corporation, just like veganism, you know, some brands were good before they got distributed by big companies
Right.
because the big companies only care about
The
truly
bottom
profit.
line. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when this version of sound gets to your doctor's office, it's going to be it's going to be different. You're not going to have practitioners who are connected to the earth, connected to the spirit, connected to the soul, connected to ancestors. They're not going to be connected to,
So what you're saying is we're not going to have sound shamans.
right. You're just going to have somebody who took a certification and he turns on this machine and it has frequencies in it and he has a list and just go doop, boop, boop. And there
So
you go. Yeah, it's not going to
so
have,
why don't we fight the change of that?
well, that's what we're on this show to do.
Exactly. Exactly, because I mean, it's one of those things that a lot of times, when the medical professional looks at healing, they look at the body, they look at the physical aspects. And then occasionally you'll see them touch on the mental health aspects as well with different things. But they don't go into the spiritual aspects in a lot of the healing. And that is a critical part of healing in the healing process. Lisa Rankin, I don't know if you know who she is. She's a medical doctor and she's wrote several different books and stuff, and she's an author, and she talks about how in the healing industry that really interpersonal connection with that person, where you're dealing with them on a spiritual level, on a really deep emotional level, is not there, and that takes away part of that healing process.
Exactly. And you know, when COVID happened, I think a lot of people began to feel those different processes they were ignoring when they were on the go. You know, they had to deal with like some self-realization. They had to deal with like family that would be in school all day, and they had to be there with them like for weeks and months. They, you know, what I really enjoyed about it was the planet got quiet, man.
Yeah.
You know, it was quiet, and you can hear. I'm always into flora and fauna. Like I have sounds. If I'm not in nature, out recording field recordings, if I'm inside any environment that I can put on some nature sounds, they're going on. But what was interesting is I remember going for a walk with my partner, and the rabbits and squirrels were acting different. They weren't running from us. They were playing around us. You know, I was just like, this is interesting. All the animals that, you know, who were nocturnal began to come out in the morning. I don't know if you all experienced that there. But the rabbits, the squirrels, all of the animals that would be usually hiding, they were running right in front of us, running around us. You know, rabbits usually sit there and then they do the Bugs Bunny thing, a hop away. They would just sit there and chill. I got like pictures of baby rabbits and things. They were bunnies. They were sitting literally like a foot away, 2 feet away. Nature responded to, you know, humanity not being out in the environment all the time.
Right. Well,
yeah.
all that sound noise and that sound pollution that you get from vehicles and industry and everything going on, and just all of that, and just pollution in general and everything else dropped drastically during that time. And basically humans stopped messing with nature for a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you see the picture over the Himalayas?
I
have to find. It was amazing.
I don't think so.
I don't think I seen that one. I saw some pictures of the changes in smog and stuff in like LA and some of those areas, where just the amount of just pollution was drastically changed.
They did the same with you know, India. The smog is horrible there.
Yes.
They haven't been able to see the Himalayas, I think, in like 20 something years or something. And this was the first time that they were able to see them, and they were like, wow. And this is what I'm really talking about. As much as we want like things to be backed by these major, you know, approved scientists and things like that, they don't have the planet or humanity or themselves, you know, on the agenda. They're just pretty much, it's a job. Just imagine, you know, and many people I'm talking to, you work jobs, you don't care about what you do. You just trying to make money.
I'm 9 to 5. I'm coming right home.
Right.
Exactly.
Whatever happens after 5, I don't care. You know, that's the way it is. But who would want a doctor like that?
Yeah. So most of your doctors have gone to school, got debt. You know, they're just there to pay their debt off. And no offense to some of the great doctors, but let's. And then you have the other caveat: the doctors who are trying to do good, and you know, they have to, you know, since they've bought into the regular system, they have to prescribe these things that particular way. So you have a lot of people jumping over from MD to becoming naturopaths with the MD.
Yeah. I
Those
actually,
are the people.
one of the
Go
best
ahead.
doctors I actually saw out in California was actually a DO. And he was absolutely amazing because his whole approach was to come from things from a more holistic point of view.
Yeah.
And his look at using things like pharmaceuticals and stuff of that nature, that was his last path of stuff to go to.
And by all means, this is not to berate medicine. This
No, there's
for
very
medicine.
there's very appropriate times for medicine, and medicine needs to be used properly, but there's times where we can do things where, like I said, going and doing a sound bath and getting the sound therapy versus taking some pills.
Yeah, preventative. And that's what I had to learn, how I got into this. Because many people see me now and they think I grew up vegan and I had parents that are vegan hippies or something. And
Grew up on a
that is so not the case.
Had your first gong at 3, was playing
Right,
the
doing
chimes at
Kundalini
4.
yoga or something. That is so not the case. I was an inner city child. Parents didn't like nature. They still don't like nature that much. So I was in the IT industry since a teenager and working in cubes and, that whole thing of just sitting there in a small desk and just typing away.
Right.
I remember getting bilateral carpal tunnel syndrome. And the process of how the doctors had passed me around and kept prescribing things, and I kept feeling worse. I got more depressed. And what was happening is everything had an adverse side effect on the other medicine, and no one wanted to address the next doctor who, because what in the industry, what happens is if a doctor says, okay, so what did your other doctor say? What did your, what's your primary care doctor say? And then, but you go into a specialist for something else. They have to sync up with that regular doctor, even if he's offline. Like if he's giving you something, they're not going to say, well, you have to get off the medicine he prescribed you and get on this here. They can't do that. It's like they have to follow. It's like a
hierarchy.
An athlon race. Like they pass the bulk, the baton, and then a triathlon, whatever. They pass the baton, and then they have to pick up to where those notes left off. That isn't a way to truly address issues. Sometimes I've seen doctors look and be like, they prescribed you this? Why? And I was like, okay, well, and then they just write their thing because it's all about the lawsuit.
Actually had that experience yesterday at the doctor's office. I went into the doctor's office and he looked, he said, why are you using this? This is one of the worst things possible you can be using. But he's one of those guys who's a specialist, and he says, so you're going to stop using that and you're going to start using this instead.
We need more of those.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable, and he is not afraid to stand up for what he knows is going to be best for the patient. And he will tell you. And they're very good at explaining what they're doing, why they're doing it, and the whole process. And they walk you through all kinds of aspects of it, from the diet, everything, on feeding your body the right things so your body can heal properly, and not giving it certain things that would keep it from healing. And it's just one of those things that it was funny because, like I said, my primary care had prescribed one thing, and he's like, no, that's horrible for this situation. Stop that now.
Yeah. And what we need is not the esoteric sciences and the healing arts and things to be into corporate. or like mainstream, because that's what really people are looking for, is just to be covered by insurance policies, right? Because it can get expensive. So,
Right.
um,
I think we have done such an injustice to ourselves as a society and as a culture when we stepped away from having local shamans, healers, medicine people. You know, that crazy old lady in the hut at the corner of the village that, you know, if you had a cold, that she's going to go down and she's going to mix up some herbs and some honey and something else and
Possibly
give it
some
to
whiskey.
you. Yeah. And she's going to tell you to drink this and you're going to
Yeah.
start to feel better because she's working with things on a different level.
yeah, and those were also your moms, your grandmoms, and your granddads.
Yep.
You know, those
Grandma's
medicine men.
elixir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, it was bad.
When go ahead.
I said, ooh, grandma's elixir was bad.
But it would fix whatever was wrong with you.
Whatever was wrong, from a wart to my lungs getting ready to be hacked up. You know?
Most definitely an expectorant.
Yeah.
And what was interesting about those elixirs, if you notice, they had a wide variety of effects on the body. It wasn't just a single thing. They can work on many things, and they did great. And remember the grandmoms and the granddads and moms, those recommendations as far as like, you know, different types of herbs or castor oils and eating with some types of, if you're not a vegan, you know, fish oils at this time of the year, you know, cod liver oil at this specific time of the year. You know, when I started studying like traditional Chinese medicines and other medicines, it ironically, those lined up with the seasons, you know, for organ health. You know, your regular doctors really don't, it's stated that they don't get a lot of nutrition training. It's like a couple of hours, you know, and that's it. So even vitamin and mineral supplementation, it's looked at very kind of scientific and separate from the whole body and your food. So, you know, oh, well, you have some joint issues. Just here, take some calcium and magnesium and you're good. And versus, okay, so, you know, what type of exercise you're getting? You know, what are you eating? You know, the pH balance of your foods and things like that. And a lot of it to me isn't on the fault of the doctors. It's on the consequences of the industry.
Oh, we lost Shannon.
Oh no.
Let's see.
It's on the consequences of the industry. What was he going to say?
Let me see if I can get him back.
Very interesting topic.
Oh, most definitely.
Very interesting.
Oh, here he comes.
There he is. There he is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yes,
hear you.
yes.
Your video is not on, but we can hear you.
Okay, that was interesting. You know, on these networks, I guess I was saying too much.
Someone was happy.
So I don't blame, like, when you give certain circumstances to the average human, they're gonna perform and respond to them a certain way. So a lot of people are trying to do better in medicine, but you have so many stipulations and laws and different, you know, loyalties and things you have to put first, that like ethics and morality and things like that, you know, kind of gets pushed by the wayside. And then you have the loans and from you know, it's expensive to get you a MD, and you invest it all the time. Yeah, so society doesn't give health. And when I talk about health, your healers, doctors or whomever, you know, down the line, the proper nourishment or nurturing, let me say nurturing, not nourishment, the proper nurturing to really do the work that's required. And also it doesn't give people time to heal. People are so on the go that appeal is the one of the why appeal for pain is chosen over a sound bath because a pill is, you can carry it in your pocket and you can just pop it whenever. And when it does work, it works quicker.
Right.
And you don't have to go to a sound bath and sit there and relax or whatever. You can take a pill and keep doing the things that you're in pain with. So if you're playing basketball, you take a pill and you keep playing basketball. And that's not how the body heals.
Right. You're treating symptoms, but you're not actually treating the body. You're getting rid of the pain, but you can actually be causing more pain because you're doing something that your body's going, hey, I'm hurt, I'm injured, you need to stop, you need to take time to take care of this. And you're taking something that allows you to just push through no matter what.
Right. So what we have is the removal of, many people are wanting to identify with the human part, and we're gonna just leave out the spirit, the self, or the soul, right? We're gonna just not go that deep. We're gonna take it to this modern, this Western, the soul, that's just soul music. It's not in the body, all this stuff. There's no scientific proof around the soul. So let's move that out of the equation. So let's take it to the human experience. What type of body can work as much as we're working and getting the least amount of sleep and have all of these different types of responsibilities and stay 100% healthy? There's no environment, like even the foods, just look at the foods. It's hard to find fresh food.
Yeah.
So how can we stay healthy?
And just when you look at the foods, so much of it is not even real food. It's a lot of chemicals put together to make something that's tasty. And
if it tastes good, it's bad for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange. Like just food coloring, red number 6 and all those yellow number. And that's interesting because I read a test, because I'm like a nerd scientist person. So I'm just like, what made people want to color food? Like, where did that come from? So they did studies, and it was scientifically proven that colorful food or food with certain colors was more attractive. So people bought the food for the color. And that's how that started. It has nothing to do with, coloring a food. It doesn't need to be there.
Pyromorpheus, he's one of my mods, a good friend of mine in real life, says soul music affects the whole body, not just the ears.
Exactly. And this is what the modern people will say. Well, that's not scientifically proven. It's there's no soul, and we can't prove that. And what's fascinating is when I study Qigong and seeing all of these miraculous, like, medical science behind it, so much so that, like, a lot of those people got exiled from China, and they're like in silos. They're siloed in different locations around the world. And the soul, or this, let's just refer to it as either a bioelectromagnetic field of the body, or, some people say an aura of the body. That energy, even in physics, they say energy can neither be created nor destroyed.
Right.
Sound,
it can only change form.
Exactly. So when we talk about ancestors, modern science say, well, that's not true. You can't prove it. But if a body had energy, then where did the energy go?
Right. It's got to exist somewhere.
Right. It has to exist somewhere. So where is it?
That's where a lot of people's belief in, you continue life after this death of this body, because that soul, that energy that makes up this functioning being can't cease to exist. It can only transmute forms.
Exactly. So there's a lot of contradiction and pseudoscience, and we talk about a lot of that in the series I do with my partner Stacy Gibson, Afri-Trinity. We're breaking down, like, these are scientific facts, and going back, okay, how did this science become a fact? And sometimes it's just a person who had 2 months of education and called himself a doctor somewhere, and then he he came out with these theories, and the theories till today like stand as science. I'm just like, now if we was to do that, it wouldn't fly.
It's funny because today's St. Patrick's Day, and I was actually reading something today about St. Patrick and the whole thing about the snakes, the whole famous story about St. Patrick drove the snakes out of Ireland. And apparently in the original writings about St. Patrick, which were around the 7th century, there was no mention of snakes whatsoever. None. That didn't appear until the 11th century. And now that's the story everyone knows about St. Patrick, as he drove the snakes out of Ireland. And it wasn't something that was even originally there. Someone in the 11th century said, let me add this in. This is going to make a good story. And that's what we believe today. So it's very similar to where, someone just said, oh, let's just go ahead and add this in. This is now science.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when there's an alternative to it, they call it pseudoscience or conspiracy theory, or like facts and fiction. And a lot of the stuff that we actually celebrate has a lot of fiction to it. Like, I'm just like, where did this story come from? This is not nonfiction. It has this character, an Easter bunny.
Right?
Where did Easter bunny come from?
I asked that question. Really, where and why does it carry a basket?
And what's up with the Easter bunny and eggs?
Yeah, and why does it lay eggs, or does it steal eggs, or
I mean, I can get into some of the spiritual aspects of those symbols of what they mean. They're fraternity. Words are hard today. They're fertility symbols, and Easter's in the spring. It's a time of fertility, and it ties into a lot of the goddesses and stuff, and the fertility goddesses, and the rabbit and the eggs and everything are symbols of that. And that's where we get those. But someone in modern science or modern marketing said, let's take this rabbit and give it some eggs and take this basket over here and we'll put it all together. We'll call it the Easter Bunny. And it's going to bring candy to kids. So the candy industry is going to make a lot of money off of this. We got a great idea.
Yeah. And it gets rolled out. And what's interesting, which is why we are all accountable for what we pass on to our children, and what we celebrate, because it seems like it's just like, well, the children need something fun and to fit into society. But in actuality, Easter is like what you said, and it's also aligned to different astrology significance. No one's talking about that. All of these holidays that are pagan are switched and like, well, pagan's bad, but then they're getting people to celebrate it in another way that takes them away from whether it's the consciousness, the evolution, and all these things. That's why it's very important, as I always speak about, what is time? What is this calendar? What are, the days of the week, and understanding that in something that's older than any of the calendars, and what the calendars were based off of was those cosmos.
Those pagan holidays were timed to astrology. They were timed to very specific dates and times of astrological alignments.
Exactly.
They happened very specifically for a reason. And you're right. A lot of modern religion has taken those holidays and stripped those pagan roots and what they really meant away from them and commercialized them.
Yeah.
And used it as a way to say, all right, take this. And what all this pagan meaning was, we stripped all that stuff out of there and made it pretty and shiny. And now this is our spiritual holiday. You need to worship this. And then modern marketing went, we can make money off of this idea.
They was like, oh yeah.
Like, people are going to go broke over this.
Easter suits. I remember we were painting Easter eggs when I was younger, and you would peel the egg and the dye would get on the,
Yes.
The egg,
Yes.
the egg. I was like, ew. They's like, no, eat that. I was like, no, it's
Right.
paint on my egg. Like, look at that. Now, what was in that paint? We
Right.
never asked that.
Exactly.
That dye.
What were we eating?
But we ate it.
Well, we know it
You
was
know.
vinegar and some sort of dye.
But
But yeah,
It was something.
You're
It didn't
right.
smell
it
good,
leaks
but-
in.
even the I remember celebrating a festival, a light in India, Diwali, and you know that the colors they throw at you and put on your face, and they put in all the paint. You know,
the pigment,
there's just recently. Say that again.
the pigment that they hold in their hands and throw the
Exactly. So they're throwing it and putting it on it and just. So recently, I read it was like, you know, the chemicals in this stuff is toxic. So now, like, small groups are trying to create alternative, healthier dyes because that's getting into your mouth,
yeah,
your head,
breathing
all
that
everything.
in.
You know, your biggest organ of your body is your skin,
It's your
so it's taking it all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And during that holiday, I've seen pictures. I've never participated myself, but you're covered head to toe.
Did you see the one where they surprised me? They didn't tell me, and it got me good.
I don't know. I may have. It's been a
I
while
have to
since I've
send
seen
that
those
to you.
pictures. But yeah, send it over. I'll post it up on the Discord.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. And then at one point, I celebrated Diwali in it was near Radhakund. It's Barsana. It's the name of the area. So it's the birthplace of
He's whimpering.
Radha.
There you go.
Take him out? You said?
Yes.
I can do that.
I'm sorry. I was asking her if she could take Tanner out. He's whimpering. He's wanting to go outside.
Oh, no problem. I thought he wanted to be a part of the call.
Sometimes he does. Go on, T.
Where's his?
It's hanging up right there in the hallway.
Yeah, when I first met you, Tanner was on your shoulder.
Yep.
And I was just like, man, this dog is very disciplined. He's just sitting up there.
Oh no, that
I
was
was
his
like-
choice. That he wanted to sit up there. That was him that started that, not me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was him. He loved laying up on my shoulders at that point in time.
Yeah, and he sits there like really disciplined. You were walking around the whole
Oh,
place
yeah.
talking, and he was just sitting there like.
Oh yeah, that was his thing.
Yeah, so I celebrated it in Barsana, and what happened was my driver had called me up and was like, "Hey, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Get ready, and wear your sunglasses." So I didn't have sunglasses, and he didn't tell me where we were going, and I put on my like nice ritual whites because I thought this guy's usually
God.
taking us to temples.
Right.
So
You're like, I gotta look good for this. Let me put on something really sharp and white.
So I get on a motorcycle. There's another guy from America. It's three of us. The driver on a motorbike.
Oh,
I'm in the
God.
middle and he's in the back. So we're rolling on a motorbike and I was like, I don't have sunglasses. He's like, well, we'll get you some. We're driving. I'm having fun. Yeah. And we're yeah. I got the little camera with the stick thing and we're rolling up and I have no idea what they're about to surprise me with. So we drive up into Barsana and it's packed because Diwali is a week later. They celebrated a week early here before everybody in India.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going on. I just see a lot of people and they're festive and like, hey. We're chanting like chants and stuff on a motorbike. I'm just in
You're
it.
like, we're having a good time. This is great.
So I get there and there's a vendor. He's like, sunglasses, blah, blah, blah. They were like $3, really nice. I get those. And then I started seeing people walking back with like dye and stuff on there. Yeah, I was just like, what's going on? And they were like, oh man, happy Diwali. I was just like, what do you mean? Then right then and there's people, what happens is they're walking with like bags of dye,
Right.
powder,
Right.
and they're just walking past you. You don't know. And they just throwing it on you. So everywhere you go, you're like, whoa, oh, wait.
Oh, and
You
it's all
trying to
different
get away?
colors too and stuff too.
Yeah. So I've never seen anything like this. They advanced Diwali. They put the powder in a water gun with water, and we're walking in the center of this area, and they did it like it was a movie, man. They was hiding on the roof tops and around pillars, and we're walking, and as soon as we get in the center of the space, you see like they'll get up over the there's an edge, they'll rise up and they're throwing powder over, and then they have the water gun getting us from all over, and I'm just getting hit. And that was like what, maybe 5 minutes in, and he's like, we have to go all the way up this mountain to the temple and all the way back down, and I'm getting hit with all this stuff. But when we get to the temple part, it's worth the effort, because they're doing the dancing and you see they're excited. But one thing happened, I'm laughing, and then one guy just took some dust and just drew it right in my mouth. And I was just like, and I just read about the Diwali, the chemical. So that kind of, I had to work through that, because that kind of ruined the whole. I was like,
oh, this dude just.
And the reaction, because I'm a very peaceful person, but it was like, why'd you do that? I wanted to say that, but the dancing and everything, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I don't think I'm ready to go.
I've had enough toxic chemicals shoved in my mouth for the day.
So till this day, I'm like, I don't know if they got the good version of the dye. But anyway, back to what we were saying, there are even many holidays in different cultures that have been switched and have been become like a consumerism model, a commodity.
Oh, yeah, very much so. I mean, probably the biggest one is Christmas.
Yeah, big time.
I know people who will straight up go in debt over Christmas. And then they're working the next several months. They're working overtime and extra to get out of that debt.
Yeah, it's a sad thing. Even the Christmas holiday on the calendar, the significance of it, is the winter solstice.
Right.
Another pagan holiday that they switched.
Yeah.
But the biggest one,
I was gonna say Yule was always celebrated on the solstice, and there was reasons behind it, and there was a big part of it, and it's one of the pagan traditions that I really still hold to very hard. I hold to the tradition of staying up through the long night, standing the watch through the long night, which, since it was the longest night of the year, it was one of the most dangerous nights of the year too. It was brutally cold. It was also a time where, the longer it's dark, the more predators and stuff that are out. So the tribes and the camps were at more risk. And so they would stand watch through the long night. It was part of standing guard.
Yeah, definitely. And I know I'm off topic with sound and things, but this is all the stuff that goes into sound sessions. So,
right.
And the reason why I'm saying that is when I'm choosing particular, whether it's frequencies aligned with the days of the week. So I don't look at the day of the week like regular people look at a Monday. Monday is Moon Day. Tuesday is Mars Day. You'll always see me posting this. Wednesday is Mercury Day. The reason why I like this show, the date of this show is on Mercury Day, and that's a day of communication. You see what I'm saying?
That's a great day for this show. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to be shifting them starting next month. They're going to Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So you're going to have some Mars energy and then some Jupiter. Yeah, energy, abundance, and then the fiery Mars warrior.
Maybe we'll be getting into some really fiery, spicy conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're gonna have to bring some water though, because it's gonna get too fiery.
Pyro said best podcasts get off topic often. Joe Rogan goes way off topic a lot.
Thank you. Going to this whole thing where we're talking about not only so when it was paganism, these were holy days.
Right.
They switched it. You look at the word, they changed it into a holiday.
Right.
But the word holiday came from holy days, and they
Right.
switched it. But let's look at time. I just want to give you two things to make you think about this whole shift, how they have people running around and moving to their beat, to their rhythm, to their time cycles. So when we say midnight, they say midnight starts the next day. But the word mid means middle
Right.
of the night. So how is the day beginning at 12 a.m.
Right.
when it started on the sunrise and the day begins at like 6?
Right.
See, so that's another fallacy. And then let's go into the year cycle that they changed. The new year. Winter solstice. So let's look at seasons. Spring equinox. Spring is starting this weekend on the 20th. March 20th is the first day of spring. Okay. June 20th or 21st, the first day of summer. Right. So how is when the first day of winter is the 20th to 21st, which is the solstice, then what, 8-9 days after that, it's the new year.
Right.
The whole winter hasn't even passed.
Right. The solstice was, that was the shifting of from the long nights to the shorter nights. It was the middle of that cold season. It was the changing point of that cold season.
So in monitoring, but the new year, when you say year refers to a complete solar cycle.
Right.
So if they're saying there's 4 seasons, then you have to complete every season to start the new year. Right. So the new year actually starts in the spring, and that's how energy works. And if you haven't completed the whole winter, this is why a lot of people don't make and I'm giving you the secret. This is a secret. You are making New Year's resolutions in the winter when you're supposed to be hibernating,
right when
and it's not the new year yet. So you at the gym and you can't meet them because the energy is not in your favor. So you should start the New Year's resolution in the new year, which is springtime, when the energy's on the up, and it's the seeds are being planted in there, about to grow. So a lot of people are making these New Year's resolutions, and you see by January, then in January, February, they're like, oh, I'm tired. I'm not going to the gym. I'll do it next year, and I'll do it next year. And that's how they got people off. People are not really paying attention to nature, to the cosmos, to cosmogony, cosmology, astrology, astronomy.
Well, I mean, it's so important because our bodies move in cycles, and we see it even more so with women and the way their body works in a cycle. I mean, that's nature. That's critical. You try throwing that off, and you start getting all kinds of problems.
And you see, this society makes the woman's cycle like it's a nasty thing. You know what I'm saying? In which they were the original innovators of the calendar.
Yeah.
So
you could tell things by a woman's cycle.
28 days.
Yep. Yeah. So I was reading an article that talked about, when the concept, let's go back before the concept of a calendar in time.
Right.
And imagine you had women who was getting, was having their cycle at the same time. And they were like, what is this? And they kept having it. And they wanted to clock when that will come about the next time. So they took these bones and these sticks and would mark on them, the days.
Right.
And that became the cyclical clock based upon that cycle. So even a lot of your esoteric people only study or practice moon cycles. moon cycles are the clocking of solar cycles. They go hand in hand. So you have a certain amount of moon cycles, which are divisions of a complete solar cycle, because the moon doesn't illuminate without the sun. It's reflecting the sun.
Right.
See, a lot of people they don't talk about that. They say new moon, full moon, we're good. No, you have to study this whole system to understand and master it. And that's what I'm into, even when I'm bringing the sound into it. But yeah, I'll leave it there. So I know we've been on for a long time. I don't know how much more time we have.
We've been on for an hour and 40 minutes. We can go up to 2 hours. So actually, at this point in time, Pyro said energy doesn't always mesh with the calendar, and that's true. It's like what you were saying. The if you try to do something in the end of the winter, when it's something you should be kicking off at the beginning of spring.
Yeah,
those energies are different, and people even talk about it. People feel different in those times of year, and they talk about how, like, even things like the seasonal affective disorder.
So many things. Sorry, so many things have changed throughout the years in society and our social constructs. For instance, I have narcolepsy, so I've done a lot of research into sleep disorders. Back in the 1716s, 1800s, people would sleep for 3 to 4 hours. Their natural body would get them up. They would do things throughout the house. They'd go back to sleep for another 4 hours, which is very similar to those that have narcolepsy. But somehow we have become work. Let's pile all this stress on top. And if we don't get 8 hours of sleep in a day, that's okay. But back years and years, hundreds of years ago, it was you slept 4 hours, you were awake, you did things around the house, then you slept 4 or 5 more hours. Your sleeping patterns were changed, and we've gotten away from things like that because of our social constructs, because of work has become so important within our lives. And we forget that those things are how our body works. And we've retrained them to do things that are completely unnatural for us.
Yeah. And what you're talking about is that the natural circadian rhythm.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's, see, these are the things that modern science, they are aware of some of it, but it can't be enforced because people work for companies. That Ford came out with that 8 hours work model.
Yeah.
Right.
And instead of coming back and changing it, they like, no, again, they hand the baton to one person. And what they do is, we're going to just give them health care. Give them health benefits. That's what they did. They said, just give them health care. And, and it went from
take care of the symptoms. We're not going to actually talk about the root of this problem. We're just going to take care of these symptoms and hope they forget about it and it goes away.
Can we call it symptom care?
Yeah. That's my brother calls it sick care.
Yeah.
I only go when I'm sick. The rest of the time, I think they're going to make me sick if I go.
And it's interesting, instead of reconfiguring, because this is what was shocking. In China, they did a study with some corporations that allowed their employees to go outside in the middle of the day all together, and they did Qigong.
Oh, yeah.
And then they came back in, because, the China philosophy is they work way longer than us. They go to school longer than us. It's so the company did that test, and they found that their employees were able to be more productive for longer periods of time.
Isn't
You
it?
know,
Isn't it a bunch of Japanese companies do something similar with naps that you work so many hours and then you take a nap for so long and then you return like that is part of their break cycle. Like you would take a lunch here, they have a nap break.
yeah, they have. I wanted to try one of those
The little pods.
in Japan. Yeah. I seen it. And I was like, shit. But see, I'm kind of tall.
I'd fit right in. I'm just now like between the 4'11", 5 foot.
Oh yeah, But I was just like, I don't think they designed this for people like me because it looks like you know how you go to the gym and you have those lockers you can put your stuff in.
Yeah, it's one of those lockers. The little ones that are on the top.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, But yeah, they design these ways to nap, not in your home,
At work.
in the middle of like, you know, the public square. They have these things you pay. Doop, doop, doop. You put. It's just like, you know,
It's like going and renting a public locker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a public locker to sleep in. And you know, that just it goes to show you humans are becoming more machines in what our expectations are of the human body. So I remember you all are definitely familiar with singularity, right?
Yes.
So I remember researching, you know, AI, singularity, and all of these things with Ray Kurzweil, which I have on his keyboards in the back. That's what got me into it. I was like, my friend was like, "You don't know this? You haven't read this guy's book?" I was like, "He makes keyboards." He's like, "No, he does more than make keyboards." I was like, "Really?" Yeah, he does things on AI and blah blah blah. And then I began to read why he got into synthesis and the keyboards of being able to create polyrhythms and things that humans couldn't do. So the synthesizer was able to allow humans to do things past their capabilities. And then, you know, later on that evolved into the singularity theory. But anyway, things happen where I'm watching something and then something else, the rabbit hole. Everyone has the rabbit hole. So
Yes.
I was down this rabbit hole.
Down
I don't know how I got there. I don't know how I got there, but it was like spirit led and whatever. But then it was interesting. One guy was like, you know, there's this fight against artificial intelligence. And the guy was like, you know, computers don't have souls and blah, 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 and humans and blah, blah, blah. And this one guy, he said something that was very deep and it still sticks to me today. He was like, well, and he was very calm about it. Well, I disagree. The humans are robots within robots within robots within robots within robots within robots. And he got quiet and I was just like, what is this guy talking about? Then he went and said, okay, so how does your sales work? How does your sales work? It has a specific program, a task, and it sticks to that task. And when it don't do that task, you know, everything else falls off. These are robots. He's like, how does, you know, the mitochondria work? And he goes into it and he's like, and I said, oh, because AI is it's being designed off of the human experience and anatomy. So everything the human creates, it comes from within us. So they're studying how the human functions and how cells function. And that's why they're saying, oh, we can code this, like how they're creating the vaccination is reprogramming the RNA, the mRNA. They do a lot of DNA splicing. So that is the technology they're using into what we call artificial intelligence, or SAI, super artificial intelligence. So is the human really this free-flowing spirit within the body? If it's been entrained to like go to work all day, you say the same things, you speak the same way, you don't know who you are, your identities are like, you know, you're this, I'm that. You know, are you not really a robot? within robots. And then when you talk about the things inside of you,
This
are they
reminds-
not programmed?
This reminds me of the movie Wall-E.
I
All the people,
remember that movie.
all the people that was on that cruise ship was just like they were just drones, and the robots were more alive than they were. You
Exactly.
know, they drank their beverages, they ate their food, they sat in their lounge chair and watched TV. You know, that's what they did, and I hate to say it, but that's kind of how society is.
Yes.
I mean,
that
movie's kind of a hard look at society.
It is. It really is.
It's holding that mirror up and going, "Hey, we make this funny. It's a kids show and stuff. It's a cartoon, but pay attention."
There's a lot. I remember having to analyze that movie in college, and there's a lot of underlying social issues, health issues, and they're there in black and white. It's just not for kids. It's more for a parental review of it. Hey, if you continue to do these things the way you're doing, let a tablet babysit your child. This is the life they're going to end up having.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, because all of that is entrainment. The brain is constantly being entrained. So when I when I was shown, audio pharmacology came to me through Winter Solstice. It wasn't something I was like, this is cool or whatever. It showed me the name. It showed me all of these different things. So what it was telling me is I need to invest more time in helping to entrain others in a positive state. And there's no negative and positive. What I'm talking about is functional. So when we're talking about
balance,
exactly,
whole body balance.
Right. So when that came to me, I was like, oh, there's this missing component, this thing of sound being considered entertainment, even television being considered entertainment. Most of these things are highly, in training. They're for entrainment.
Shannon, is it true that most of the music and stuff that we hear is tuned to a frequency that's meant to be basically a dead frequency, one that doesn't necessarily affect us it affects us, but not necessarily in a positive manner? Because I remember hearing some stuff about the music industry, about the 444 hertz and then the 432, which is a healing frequency, and how certain artists were starting to change, wanting their music tuned to 432 hertz, and some of the kickback that was coming from the entertainment industry over that.
Yeah. So what has happened is the tunings, when they say, and I know we're right at the 2 hour.
If we go over, we go over. This is some things that I think are important to get out there.
Okay, awesome. So, this study goes back to Gregorian chants, but it is further back than that. So most of the instruments in ancient societies were tuned to functional frequencies. Even though if you listen to old songs from indigenous people, they don't have songs that saying, calling women out their names or talking about, berating people, derogatory things. But what has happened over time is what is called, when people talk about 432, 440, and 442 is the tuning in Europe. They're talking about what's considered the concert A. And what that is not just a frequency. People like, well, 432 hertz, you can't have a whole song playing a 432 hertz frequency. What is happening is they are tuning what's called a concert A to 432. So what happens is they have the leader of the director of an orchestra. I'm just giving an example. On the meter, he's able to tune every note based upon the 432 mapping, how it's going to space things apart. It's all
Right.
math. Frequencies and music is nothing but
All
math.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's math, and it's just frequencies and multiplication and division. So
It is.
so when you map to 432, which is a lower hertz, they say not only that, because you got this sonic geometry perspective. So 4 plus with numerology, 4 plus the 3 plus the 2, right? 7 plus 2, 9.
Yeah.
The 369. Einstein and Tesla, if you study their work, they're always talking about 369, the being the secrets of the universe.
Yeah.
Frequencies 369.
Yeah,
So
Tesla even had one of my favorite quotes where he says, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, or I think he said the keys of the universe, is to think of everything in frequencies and vibrations.
And that's the thing I open up every class with when I teach, because that's how I see the world, in the electromagnetic spectrum. I don't see anything outside of that. So what they have is that leader who's going doo, and it's to 432, and everybody's tuning their A to that, and then they go to B, boom, and they tune into that. So what has happened is the frequency has gotten higher. If you notice, they're saying back in ancient societies, people were more calmer because the frequencies were like, more harmonious, in right in between. What happened over time is they raised the frequency. And I'm under the understanding that that's how they got us to ignore our bodies, ignore our spirits, work more, because the vibration has been heightened. So everything now is very intense. And it's intense in a masculine energy way.
Right. And with the shift to the age of Aquarius, we're going to be having a change to the feminine energies coming in.
Right.
And that's a cycle that we're coming into. We've talked about cycles so much. We're coming into that cycle.
Right. So in Europe, they even went higher. They did 10 hertz up, 442. America did 440. So the tuning of it is not as smooth if you look on the at the sine wave, and it doesn't have the 369 in it. So 440 with the numerology will be 8. And 442 is 8, 9, 10. That'll be 1. So also with 432, it stated that when they do a whole bunch of different math, like the distance from the Earth to the sun, and you do all of these different maths, it'll give you like 432 and 4,320. Like it's always 432 when they do all of these different equations. So there is talks about that tuning being significant. Like there was some science behind it, not just these older instruments were just being played, that the artisans and the instrument makers were making instruments and tuning songs and mantras and all these different things to frequencies that were more functional. And the argument in society is they are using more emotional frequencies. So to get you to buy or to yeah.
But Byron Morpheus says the answer is not 42, it's 432. Oh, we lost Shannon again.
Oh no.
He'll be right back.
Very interesting topic.
Here he is.
Yeah. What it keeps doing is dropping me out because it's saying that I'm not. Maybe I need to keep clicking on the screen.
Oh, it's because you're saying you're inactive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that whole science, there's a lot of people who are wanting to go back to 432, but this is the caveat. My Karma Nirvana collective band, I just posted something just recently because a lot of people don't know the gist of the science that I put into a lot of the stuff I do. But I was creating 432 music into the frequency of dolphins and whales. So the first song on the album, World Peace, everyone who listened to it, they like, man, this is, they had these, it's amazing. I've never heard dolphins and things like this. And that's because of that, how it's resonating to the body, and the mind and the spirit is going to be different than, something that you turning up to.
Right.
Music now, most of it is to turn up. If you think about it.
They're trying to elicit an emotional response out of it one way or another.
Exactly.
Well, and now they're doing the 8D and 12D music. Have you seen that?
8-dimensional meaning.
Yeah, the 8-dimensional and 12-dimensional. So they add extra frequencies to it, and then they pan everything around.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole time you're listening to this music, it just kind of, I don't want to say shut you down, but it's almost paralyzing. And these are things, I don't know, have you ever heard any of it?
I haven't. I haven't.
I'll
not
have to
familiar.
play some for you later. And of course, it's made to be used with headphones because it doesn't work with speakers, obviously. But it's, as soon as you start listening, it's goosebumps everywhere, and it's like, all over your body with some of these 8D and 12D types of music that are being made. And just, it's as if you are in the middle of a room and that music is just surrounding you.
It sounds like what you refer to as like a sound bath type situation.
Yeah, so what is happening?
Getting a full immersion into it.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Immersive.
Yes, very immersive.
So speaking of that, let me go on to some things I'm doing that's immersive.
Let's go through these, and then we'll wrap up the show after you discuss these topics here. And then,
okay.
And then if you want to come back again, we can schedule you in again, and we can go into even more.
Awesome. Okay, so the second one on the list, I'm doing this immersive. What I call it is an immersive IMAX mystical sound meditation. So what I'm doing is, a lot of people who are streaming in the virtual world aren't considering, how to make that experience immersive, meaning from like high quality audio, visuals, or even for me, it's all about the frequencies and the sacred geometry.
Right.
So
I'm trying.
It's a virtual experience.
I'm trying to bring.
Go ahead.
I said I'm trying to bring some of that in.
Yeah, so it's a virtual experience that you can have from the comfort of your home. But the what is the other caveat is, when I started audio pharmacology, I was shown how to do these, like at that time it was in 3D. Now there's virtual reality. And that'll be the next thing I'll talk about. But these live, real-time analyzed sacred geometry images, or images of like traveling out to space and all these things. So, kind of a psychedelic approach to it in the visual, right, is what I'm trying to say. So then the immersive
things along that lines.
Yeah. So the immersive part of it is that just going along with this high fidelity audio that's being streamed, like even through your phone. I encourage people to put headphones on. Exactly. So because many people are just on their laptops and phones, so they're not caring about, sound quality to the world has left a long time ago. So it's getting degraded every day. So to overcome a lot of those sound quality issues is, on the front end, how I'm piping things out over the internet is in recording studio quality, high fidelity. So when it reaches the person, there is no dropouts and all these things. Everything is in their face. So that's why it's considered the immersive IMAX. And then the mystical part is the art and all the mantras and meditations and things that's being displayed during it. I'm very excited about it. It has developed and evolved over time. So the last couple of sessions I had, some of the people seeing the work that I used to do into where it is now. And what I'm excited about it is I have access to everything in my facility, where when I'm going out to a gig, and many people you see go out to do these sessions, we're not bringing all our stuff. We're bringing a lot of stuff, but we're not bringing all our stuff. We can't, the cost isn't effective.
Right.
We can't fit it all in the car, and we don't have enough time because people are trying to rush with time.
Right.
Then it takes time to set it up and break it down. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you're talking about doing this virtually. Where can people tie into this? Is that something that they can access through your website?
Yes, at www.audiopharmacology, PHARMACOLOGY.com. Or if you go to Instagram or Facebook and type audio pharmacology, you'll see several accounts come up. What I'm ecstatic about as well is I'm working on a 360 immersive experience with 3 people, Jonathan Woods, Chris Adams, and Stacy Gibson. That's going to take it to the IMAX theaters. I was doing some projects at the Planetarium. I want to look at doing some projects at the Wise Domes around the world. They have, I think, 3 of them in LA, and etc. So bringing this immersive experience where allowing people to be able to use their imaginations more in a positive perspective versus, Hollywood and Bollywood. Most of those themes are entraining what we have today. We don't have a lot of media, alternative media, that is actually pushing out functional frequencies, functional identities, and when I say functional identities, the divine, that
Right.
You don't have an identity, you just the I am.
Right.
They're not talking about that,
That gets into that connectedness of we are all one when you hit that point, and that's just a beautiful place to get to.
Exactly. You said it perfectly. So then, again, you can, when that becomes live, because what that entails is creating a whole world. So we're creating
Absolutely.
characters, we're creating cities. The city is coming out really awesome. I'm really excited about it. We just did some new things with one of the buildings, and we have to create all these buildings. Is everything is created.
There's a video game on Steam called Plane, Playne, and it is a game about meditation. And your world grows and evolves as you meditate. It's through Steam. I can send you a link to it if you can't find it right now.
Please do.
But what you are talking about, I think you need to tie in with these guys and work in conjunction with these guys.
I would love it. I would really love it, actually.
What I really like about this game, I've only messed with it a little bit. I really need to dive into it more. And I got it in early access, and they've added more stuff to it since I played it last. But it starts off, you have this avatar that's a wolf, or not a wolf, it's a fox. And it starts walking you through things like your breathing, controlling your breathing, and getting into rhythms and stuff with it. And then as you go through these meditative exercises, your world starts off, it's like this little barren spot of grass with a little campfire, and I think one tree and this fox. But then as you do these meditative exercises each day, the world grows and expands, and more stuff comes in, and your world gets bigger, and there's more trees, there's more to explore. You can walk through the world and see all kinds of different things. And
sounds like mindfulness to me.
And more stuff comes into it as you work with this each day.
Oh yeah, I have to have that.
It's a great game. It's only like $15, and it's probably one of the best $15 that someone can spend.
It's $15 like a month, or just $15 period?
Period.
For the game.
You buy it once, you own it.
Get out of here.
No, I'm serious.
Teaches you how to meditate, And then basically through teaching you how to meditate
Let me
in the
see if I
video
can.
game, you're seeing the world. Well, that's kind of the way it is in our reality. Once we meditate, our eyes are open. We become more mindful of those things around us. Interesting.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, hold
Yeah,
on.
I love
and
Hold
I
on
mean,
a second.
in
I'm trying to
today's
find a. I'm
society,
trying to find a link. Oops, I'm gonna end up pulling my Steam up on screen for everyone.
in today's society, that's actually a good thing, because our children, I should say my children, they're in their 20s, but we have the 20-year-olds and under, and they were taught computers. They were taught to look
Yes.
at all of these things. The TV babysat them, and that's how they've learned. So, I mean, to learn how to meditate from a video game, that's genius.
I just sent you a link to the game, Shannon.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't
Appreciate it.
like. Part of me wants to show it on screen, but I don't know if there will be any issues with that or not.
Yeah, Twitch is funny like that.
Well,
right?
You know what? I can stream this, so I should be able to show this the Steam page. I mean, I own the game. I can stream it, so I should be able to show it. I'm going to do it anyways. Let me bring this over here, and I'll just play the brief little intro. Can you see that on the Twitch screen?
Let me see. Give me 1 second. Yep.
All right. And you might want to turn on your Twitch volume so you can hear. There might be a little echo, but you'll be able to hear.
Okay. Let's see. Where's
So what they're doing with this pulsing in and out, they're teaching you how to practice your breath work.
Okay.
And that's one of the big things that they stress on this is breath
Screen it,
work.
please.
Huh?
Full screen it, please.
I'll full screen it.
Are you moving it, or is it doing? Oh, it's just giving you a demo.
Yeah, it's a demo.
Okay.
Yeah, all I did was take it to full screen.
Yeah, I would love to do their music.
Yeah, I think you could really work with these guys about getting some really deep, full immersion with the meditation.
Interesting, because that's really what society has kind of turned to.
Video games and stuff, technology is what teaches us
technology
everything.
aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a video game to teach the younger generation, hey, this is something that you should be doing. This is how you should do it, and this is going to make your life better.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of things are becoming, intangible. So even music, video, like the ownership of items, that's going away. It's going to be like all cloud subscription, and you got to pay for everything, even for nature. Like, I appreciate some of the sound libraries or some of the stuff I own. And there was a time recently when I was like, I'm gonna get rid of all this stuff. And I said, wait, hold on. If I got to go back and get a subscription, to listen to like some nature stuff.
I think it's right.
For
Yeah,
nature.
it's a prescription.
You're getting some medicine there. I think you had it right the first time.
Thank you. I don't think I'm cool with that. Even what people are not aware of is there was a study by this one guy. I forgot his name, but he does this project and it's backed by the government about there isn't a square foot on the planet that is quiet. And he's been doing this research, and he's in Seattle. I think Seattle only has like something that's close and deep in the part Seattle, where he was like, I think this might be close to like 2 feet of quietness. So all of this noise, and what is happening too is people who are doing field recordings like myself and has been doing it way longer, they go back to those same areas, you know, a year or 5 years or 10 years later. And they showed these recordings where the levels were like this high of you hearing the fauna, and you can hear the flora and all of that, to like this. And the planet is still being populated and, you know, turning into a metropolis. So you're going to get less. So these video games and these recordings, you're going to have people buying the sound of nature, like to be in nature, and you're going to have this screen. We're not even screen. It's just going to come up on your wall, and you can look like you're inside of this place.
And dark. Like with the hologram technology, it's going to basically project you. It's going to be like the holodeck on Star Trek.
Exactly.
I mean, we're heading to that level of technology where we're going to eventually end up in a full immersion along those lines.
And then a lot of people are like, well, that's cool. And I think it's cool too, but I don't take a immersive experience. I want it to feel real because I'm creating them, right?
Right.
But I will not be cool if I go into a room and okay, this is my trip to Costa Rica.
Right. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
I would like to experience what it's like to stand on top of you know, some tall mountain, or stand in the middle of an open field of lavender or something along those lines, or just any of these experiences, to stand in the Arctic in the middle of the cold and the snow and the ice and everything, and that
you
crispness.
can leave that one.
We had that not too long ago here.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying in addition to, not in replacement of.
Right. But, well, what I'm saying
unfortunately,
is
I could see that being a replacement of the way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
scary.
Where I'm like,
well, I think it's unique though, because there is a good aspect I see of that. I may never get to experience what it is to hike through the Himalayan mountains, but someone can give me an immersive experience of that, and I can get some of that experience from that. It will never be that experience because there won't be the magic of being there, that magic of nature, that spark that's there when you're actually on that ground in that area, smelling those the plants and breathing that air and everything, and the energy that is in that area. Those aren't things that you can necessarily recreate, and so that spark's always going to be lost.
Yeah, well, I'm speaking of, I foresee the destruction of natural flora and fauna environments.
Oh,
and only being able to experience them in virtual realities, because if the planet is becoming all metropolis, then there's not going to be any forest to walk into. So if people are going to be like, okay, cool, I'll bring up the Brazilian Amazon, and now we're in this room talking about some, hey, we're at the Brazilian Amazon, and it's like, no, we could have kind of had both. We could have had the real thing and not cut all the trees down.
I think when we do that, though, as a species, that we just need to cease to exist. I mean, when we decide that we're going to try to take over nature, and honestly, I think nature would fight back, and it probably would be the end of us.
Well, this is the thing. A lot of people are thinking like the indigenous wisdoms of nature, or the earth is going to heal and repair itself. That's true. But also what we have to understand is we don't have life without the earth.
Exactly.
So
if we
you cutting trees down. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I think you're about to say the same thing. If we cut the trees down, if we cut, we get rid of all the grass and all the weeds and everything, we get rid of all these things. I mean, shoot, something as simple as we kill off all the bees. we're screwed.
Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's to the point where science and these corporations and all these things, these people who are thinking of from the profit standpoint, are leading us to, you know, self-destruction. And again, you know, I'll end the conversation. Are we robots within robots within robots within robots within robots? Because, you know, as much as people are, there's like revolutions and all of these things, these like smaller things. And I'm just like, you know, we should really be concerned about plastic in the water. We need water. We should be concerned about air. I experienced something I've never experienced in my life. I went to Peoria, Illinois.
I'm sorry.
And I've been to Peoria before. What'd you say? Are you from there?
I've got family that live in that area. That's why I was like, I'm sorry. I'm joking.
Well, what I experienced is we stayed at an area that's right off the water where it has all those steel mills and factories. And we drove in on a day where on our phones, it was like, I don't know if your phone gives you those messages like it's smog and, you know, people with breathing problems don't stay inside, as if that's normal. So
I lived in California for a while. That was daily life there, and especially in Southern California.
Wow.
I remember one point in time when I was working in the cannabis industry. I lived in Northern California. I worked in Northern California primarily. I got offered a show to do down in Los Angeles. So we went down, we done the show. We was down there like 3-4 days. I came back, got up into Northern California, and for the next week hacked up black crud. I had never done that before. Never. But every morning I would cough and I would have just this black crud come up off of my lungs. And it was from all the smog down in LA. And so many people are just living in that day to day, breathing that in constantly.
So, bro, let me take it to because I've been to LA. It's there. Rio, bad. India, bad. Even Nairobi, bad. Especially Japan. This I've never seen before. We rolling in. Okay, so it's raining and the clouds is causing this condition of you need to be inside. But the air is so thick. We went inside this hotel and we turned on the and it had an indoor. It didn't have the AC central air unit that goes out and pulls air in from the outdoor. It recycles from in the room, not the building. It recycled this air. We couldn't breathe. We had headaches. And so I said, what's going on here? And that made me research, like, how is this livable? People are running around and it's COVID. So people got the mask on outside. And I didn't know and I don't know if many people on this call knows what those masks that you see for COVID, but these masks you buy and it says PM 2.5. It's PM starts particle matter. So a lot of people who were wearing those masks, I remember when I first went to Japan, and this was in 2003, people had on masks and I was like, what's this? They got flu or something? I don't get it. They're wearing masks because they are aware of the pollution, the PM2.5 levels. PM2.5 is when they talk about air pollution is the particle matter that comes from these companies and the air stacks and all the stuff. And this is only one. There's PM 5.0. That's like unlivable, right? No. Actually, the smaller the particle matter is, the worse. So PM 2.5 is small enough for us to breathe, and that silt that you said you had, that is considered PM 2.5. Now the levels we wouldn't have came with masks because if it wasn't COVID, right? Now people are walking around with masks because of COVID. And we can't breathe with the mask on, and we had PM 2.5 masks. And I searched, and I was like, oh, we got the mask that's made for this type of stuff, and we can't breathe in the room. It took us a week and a half. I had to detox from milk thistle and, like you said, mucus and all this stuff. Just imagine the people who live in that daily. And how does that become livable situation? It felt like, I'm going to be honest, it felt like Hiroshima or something. It was, I'm not being exaggeratory. I've been in cities all over the world that had poor air. I've never experienced something that was, we couldn't sleep in it. We couldn't talk. It was just like a gas. It felt like I was in a gas chamber. That's how bad it was. And I can't understand how the government just gives a message, stay inside, and when you're inside, you can't breathe.
Right.
I don't understand it. And if that's where our air is coming to, we need to plant trees. I'm being serious.
Exactly.
We need to slow down on driving.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'll end there, man. If you have family in Peoria, send them some milk thistle. They're some soldiers. I don't know how you can live in that. And I'm not saying it from just because I even begin to look at PM2.5 levels everywhere. Where I live is not, the air is considered good. It's not, when statistically it's not good. But the Peoria, I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know how. And they should be ashamed of themselves to have people live in that.
Right.
I ordered we couldn't even go out to eat. We had to order like Uber Eats. The guy was in the mask. He couldn't find a car. He couldn't see. It was just horrible, man. I can't explain. It was horrible. But anyway, much respect to the Peorians. Look out for your family there.
Right.
I've never seen anything like that. They're still alive. God bless them.
Right.
Prayers for Peoria, please.
Right.
Whoa! Wow.
That is intense. That is like I said, I've been in some bad cities, but something like that just and that's not somewhere else. That's right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not normal. That wasn't normal. It wasn't normal.
That's not right in any way, shape, or form.
And they got a prison, near there, so the whole area is kind of, factory, whatever, and they don't really care about, the people there. They're just like people who work at those factories, and
that's horrible. That's horrible. We're coming up on 2 hours and 30 minutes now that we've done the show. I think the last time that we done this, I think we went almost 3 hours.
Yeah. Thank you for having me again.
Most definitely.
If you want to learn more about what I'm doing with sound and energy, or immersive experiences, or qigong, or mindfulness programs, you can contact me at www.audiopharmacology.com, or Pharmacology is PHARMACOLOGY. Audiopharmacology at Gmail if you want to email me, or you can type in Audiopharmacology on Instagram or Facebook. I'm on both platforms, and I'm building I have my LinkedIn up, but I got to make it more active because I have 8 to 9. I got like 7 Facebook pages or something.
Oh, God.
So yeah, I got it down.
What I'll do is in the description down below for the YouTube video, I'll post your link up there. We did post it into the chat here on Twitch. We just got it posted again. Thank you, Pyro. One of my mods, he just posted it up in there again. So right there is the link in the Twitch chat if you want to use that.
Thank you so much.
Shannon, by all means, if you want to jump on, get involved in the Discord server, post up any links you want to in the Breaking Reality section, either in the general or under where it says books and reading. If you need help with that, I'll walk you through that later.
Okay.
And show you where you can post stuff. But anything that you want to post and get out to this community, by all means, use that as an avenue. And I will take things from there and post them other places as well, to get them out, to just basically getting the knowledge out, because that's a big part of what this show is for, is to get the knowledge out there. And once again, I want to start off by saying thank you so much for being on the show, man. It is always a pleasure to talk with you at all about anything.
Yeah, I was gonna be down there. I was asked to come to the Serpent Mound thing, but I have some engagements this weekend. I was gonna come check you out, but I'll be down there soon.
Hey, you know you're welcome down here anytime. I've told you that before.
That's right.
And if she invites you to Peoria,
Don't go.
bring a gas. I'm serious. You got to bring the gas mask with the things.
Respirator.
I figured it was just a don't go. It's just you don't even want that on your skin.
And you think I'm joking? I'm gonna have you talk to my partner, and she's gonna confirm it. I'm not. I'm serious.
I don't doubt it one bit. I seriously don't. Like, I don't think that you're pulling anyone's legs.
Yeah. So yeah, I prayers to them, your family,
But
for real. Call them today. Tell them you love them.
Right. I did.
Tell them I love them.
But
Yeah,
most definitely,
yeah.
Shannon, I would love to have you back on the show again. So let's talk about that. If you want to come back again, we'll talk online over the next few days or whatnot and get something set up.
Okay, definitely. Of course, I want to come back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have an awesome rest of your Mercury day, and yeah, I look forward to doing this again. It's always a pleasure conversing with you. I remember the first time we met, and you've been a light inside of, one of the lights inside of my life is when we do get a chance to engage.
Likewise.
Yeah.
I mean, from the beginning, nothing but just a ball of positive energy that was always seeking and searching for the best in everyone.
Yes.
I mean, that's the way you've been, man. I mean, from the beginning.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you for the views, the follows, the bits, everything. Thank you, Pyro, for helping out with some links and stuff there and modding for the channel and stuff. And
thank you, Pyro. I appreciate it.
I want to say thank you to Stephanie for being here. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
And then in a couple of hours, guys, just pay attention. We'll post up when we're going to go live, but we don't know exactly sure. But me and Stephanie are going to do a show, and we're going to be discussing narcolepsy on the show tonight with her. And I think we're going to even get into some of the parallels of narcolepsy and the different shamanic states. And the shamanic journeying and stuff, and how it has some very similar parallels and stuff that she goes through when she goes through a narcoleptic episode.
So it should be very interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting show. So just once again, thank you so much, Shannon. And just thank you to everyone who joined us. And we will see you guys in a couple of hours.
All right. Check her out. Check them out. Trust me.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Definitely check out what Shannon's doing. And once again, Shannon, thank you for being with us, and we'll talk with you later.
All right. Take care.
Take
Bye.
care.